Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuhu. Welcome, children, to the second part of letters being sent to the world from Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Today we are going to look at how two other kings received their letters from Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, the letter to the king of Persia and the letter to the king of Rome. So let's find out. Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam addressed a letter to the king of Persia. This is the land of roughly Iraq and Iran today, so it must have been a huge piece of land. It was ruled by Khusru Parvez, the king of Persia. Again, Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam's style of writing began with Bismillah, and then informing the person that this letter was from Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam to Khusros, the ruler of Persia. It started with a positive note that blessed are those who follow guidance and put faith in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and His Messenger. And then Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam called him to Allah and His purpose of warning all mankind, inviting him to accept Islam. Again, a good and proper way was chosen to deliver this letter to the king. But strangely, Khusros got angry by seeing Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam's name above his own name, and he just tore the letter to bits. When Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam was told about this, he said his kingdom will be torn as well. And soon a war broke out between the Persians and the Romans. The kingdom was broken down and the king was killed. Now let's see the letter to the Roman emperor was also sent by Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam in the same order, adding, "Blessed are those who follow guidance. Embrace Islam that you may find peace. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will reward you, and turning away will be sinful." Hercules had come walking to Jerusalem from Syria. This was a way of performing a pilgrimage to thank God for the Roman victory over Persians. When he received Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam's letter, he quickly sent a man out to find if any man familiar with the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam could be found amongst the traders in Syria. Quite fortunately, a caravan of the Quraysh was in the area of Basra too. And it was headed by Abu Sufyan with his other Quraysh. So he went to see the king. When Hercules received the group of Arabs, he asked who was closest amongst them to Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Abu Sufyan was the closest. That must have put him in a good limelight. Abu Sufyan felt quite important, so he was moved up into the front, closer to the king, whereas the others were seated behind him. Hercules then announced to the Quraysh, "I shall ask Abu Sufyan about the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. If he tells a lie, you should immediately deny it." Abu Sufyan felt that he must tell the truth now, and could also see how popular Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam was becoming. So Hercules started with some questions. He said, "Tell me about his lineage." So Abu Sufyan answered, "He comes from the best lineage." Hercules continued, "Did anybody before him make the same claim that he does?" "No," answered Abu Sufyan. Hercules then continued, "Have there been any kings in his family?" "No," answered Abu Sufyan. "Who are his followers? Are they poor and the weak, or are they nobles?" Abu Sufyan answered, "They were all poor and weak." Hercules then again asked, "Are his followers increasing or becoming less?" Abu Sufyan answered, their numbers are growing. Do those who enter his religion hate and leave him? No, answered Abu Sufyan. Heraclius said, did you catch him lying before he claimed to be a prophet? No, said Abu Sufyan. Has he ever broken his word? Not yet, said Abu Sufyan. We are at present at peace with him. We don't know what he will do in future. Heraclius said, have you ever fought against him? Yes, answered Abu Sufyan. What was the result? Fortunes have varied, sometimes in our favor, sometimes in his. What is it that he teaches? Asked the king. Abu Sufyan answered, he asks us to worship one God and not to share anyone with him, and to leave whatever our ancestors worshipped. He asks us to offer prayers, to be truthful and pious, and to be kind to men. After Heraclius had heard of all this and taken a direct speech from him, he summarized the whole conversation and confirmed it once again with reasons which were good enough for many to understand, if they would. You said that he was of noble lineage. Prophets always come from the best lineage. You said that none of you made such a claim before him. If it had been so, I would say that he was copying you or anyone else. You said that none among his ancestors happened to be a king. Had anyone among his ancestors been a king, then he was trying to recover his lost kingdom, I would have presumed. I asked you if you knew him to be truthful before he claimed to be a prophet, and you said, yes, he was truthful. I know that it is not possible for a man to be truthful to people, but to mince the truth in regard to God. You told me that the poor and the weak followed him. It is true that prophets are always followed by humble and the poor in the beginning. You said that they were gaining in numbers. Faith is always like that, for it goes on increasing until it wins. You told me that none had ever turned away from him and rejected his faith. It is a fact that faith, once goes in the heart, never leaves it. You told me that he never broke his word. Prophets never break their promises. You said that he asked you to worship one God and not to share anyone with him. You turn away from idols to offer prayer, practice truth, piety. If what you have said is true, very soon he will conquer the ground that is under my feet. I knew that a prophet was going to appear, but I never thought that he would come from you. If it had been possible, I would have called upon him, and if I had been with him, I would have washed his feet. And with this, Heraclius dismissed Abu Sufyan and his men to go. Unfortunately, Heraclius was afraid that his men would become angry with him if he changed and embraced Islam, and might hurt him in some way or take his kingdom away from him. So he did not change. But for Abu Sufyan, he could at least see the truth of all the matters so logically stated by the king, and a powerful king that is. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuhu.